To Reality Water Cooler. I am Sarah in Texas, and this is our place to chat all the latest reality TV gossip. And of course, Jeff Lewis live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are new, welcome. Get comfortable in comments. We love to hear what you think. I am looking at 3 different computers. My iPad, not computers, my computer, my iPad, my cell phone with comments. So if I miss something, please wait till the end, and I try to make time for questions. If you are on Instagram, there's a button to hit at the bottom that's questions that just shows me that. So it makes it easier for me to find. Let me get this banner off of my thing. Everything goes up as a replay instantly. Please, 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 I beg of you, make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure you're following me. All my social media is everywhere under Jeff Lewis Obsessed. And this also goes up as a podcast about 10 minutes after we end. Oh my gosh, let's get started with shout out news. I feel like I could talk an hour about Mary Cosby. Are you dying? Are you watching Salt Lake City? Did you watch What Happens Live? More importantly, did you watch the super crazy Watch What Happens Live after show? If you did not, check it out. It's only 7.5 minutes, which a lot of times it's not even that long. I think they had so much crazy Mary content that they could have went on for another freaking 30 minutes. I was dying. I tried to make some clips of it, but y'all, I can't even tell you how good it is. You'll be watching like this. It's literally like, did she just say that to Z-Way? Did she just say that to Andy? Did she just look at, I mean, it was insane, y'all. Like I almost can't even put words into it. Okay, so let's get into the episode. Last night was episode 6. It starts off, of course, I don't know, it just feels a little dramatic with this whole Angie K husband gay rumors. I don't like it. I don't know what to believe, for one thing. I do, like I said the other day, I do feel like he's been a hairdresser for 30 years. I think he said he owns a bunch of salons. They clearly have money. She has definitely talked a couple of episodes about everything not being okay in their marriage, but she will absolutely not divorce. She definitely mentions intimacy. And then I think we somehow found out, did we find out on the show or somehow I heard today or on the show that this ginormous bed that they show of hers, it's super wide, like 17 people can fit in there, that their 12-year-old daughter probably sleeps with them every night. So that might affect your intimacy, unless they go to bed and then you can like zoom off to a bathroom or another part in the mansion, right? Oh my gosh, it was so crazy. Lots about it. Mary, I go back and forth. Are y'all with me on this? Like, I think she's funny, and then I think she's super rude. And then I'm like, why the hell did you agree to come back as a friend? You don't even want to be there. You were so cocky. Like she says last night, I wasted another outfit on this, and where's the food? So then she goes to take some food home to go from a party. Like, who does that? Unless you're at a very small, intimate party, like friends and family, and they're forcing food on you. Because when we host parties, we're always like, take this, take this, take this, because if not, I'll sit there and eat it, You don't take food home to go from a party like that. It was so rude, so weird. But then she's rude to the guy and says that he's lazy. Oh my God, I was just dying. But I tell y'all, if you have not watched Watch What Happens Live and the after show yet, it's a must tune in. You will not believe your eyes, for sure. Oh my gosh, I love the comments. A lot of you are saying you're not interested in the Angie storyline. She has none. I kind of agree. Like, I'm not here for it at all. And I don't know what to believe, especially when she starts telling us about these things about her marriage already, right? He just seems upset, and I did agree and respect him on the, like, doesn't matter if they're saying I'm gay or not, and I have boyfriends all around the town, and that's the rumor. The fact that I'm a married man and they're saying that I'm cheating at all, that's the disgrace that he's upset about. And it's true. Their daughter, what's her name? Like Aristocrat or something like that. I forget her name. She is 12, so she might have social media by now, but also, even if she doesn't, the rumors are going to be told to her already about what is being said about her mom and dad, because they're on a freaking reality TV show. So again, if you can't stand the heat, stay out of the fucking Real Housewives show. Like, you don't need the money. You don't need the fame. Why are you putting your life out there in your marriage if you're so free? Electra, thank you. If you're so concerned about your daughter, like I have said this all along, I don't understand when these I mean, I'm here for it because it entertains me and fascinates me, but also I'm like, what are you getting out of it? Like, if you are so sad about your kids seeing all this and being so, and all these rumors and stuff, what did you think it was going to be? That's exactly what it is. Whether the rumors are true or not, people are always going to talk about you, and no one's going to waste their time figuring out if the rumors are true or not, right? You may never convince anyone. So if it's all that important to you, maybe back the hell off of the reality TV show, Angie K. Anywho, sorry, I feel a little bit. Did y'all see the family portrait? Sean like standing in the background on their bedroom wall, and he's got like all the horse gear on, and then his daughter who was young, and then Angie is standing in the forefront of it. Oh my God. I was like, I don't know what to think about that. Okay, Monica. What do we know about Monica? I was trying to Google her last night because she keeps pouring on this single mom thing. I don't know. Is her husband, to me, when somebody uses the single parent thing, I literally think of that as like single parent. Like maybe your partner, the father, mom, whoever is absolutely not in the picture on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. They might give financial support, but basically you are raising them and spending all your time. So does that mean her 4 kids who are 17, 12, 6, and 5, who she somewhat recently divorced from him? I think they were married, divorced, remarried, and divorced again. Or am I getting confused with Nikki Haskell? Anyways, I think that's what happened with them though. It just feels like she's pulling this single mom thing. And I don't know if she is. Like if their kids are going, if her 4 daughters are going to the dad, 60%, 50% of the time, 30%, whatever, then don't pull this, I'm so tired all the time. Sleep when they're freaking gone. Like, I don't know. Is she getting money from them? Which I hope. Who knows? She's driving a Range Rover and, just bought that new Louis Vuitton the other day to keep up with the, housewives. So I don't know. Okay. Meredith. She is a doozy this year. Wait, nobody has sound? No sound. I assume y'all have sound on Instagram. Give me a thumbs up if we do. I love your comments. Okay, Meredith. I don't even know how I feel about this season. It's just weird. I didn't like the over dramatic explanation of this accident because my brain went to, wait a minute, did I hear on TMZ or Page 6, or Bravo and Cocktails, all my news sources, that Meredith was in a car accident? Like what, on the way home from this party for filming? And then I realized, no, it wasn't on TMZ or Page 6 because nothing really happened. They show the picture and the editors put the word accident in quotations, y'all. Shout out to the freaking Salt Lake City editors. I'm dying. I'm here for it. I loved it. I'm so here for it. So here for the shade. Thought it was super weird whenever she and Brooks are later going to what's it called when you walk with it? Snow walking, whatever that thing is. And he's like driving with the snow goggles on. Like, y'all, I've worn those. You can't see out of the sides of them as well as you can like regular sunglasses. So if I was the mom, and I'm talking about this car accident recently, I would be like, well, take your freaking glasses off so you can drive me very well. You know what I mean? Oh my gosh. What did we think of Monica and her mom? Like, I'm sorry. Wow. Like, wow. What a shit show of a relationship that Monica has with her mom. And how disrespectful is her mom to her? They're cussing at this senior center where they go and like play cards and stuff. And her grandmother is over in the side and they're like cussing up a storm. What seemed a little fake, it seemed a little for the show, for the ratings. I do feel like, and I've said this before, I feel like Monica just is there because she knows exactly what to do. You know what I mean? And I don't like that at all. Like, don't come at me with a pre-scripted thing and say, oh, we're going to take, what do they call her? Nani? What are they calling her? I can't remember. But take her to this senior home, like, oh, it's so great, a 3-generation thing. And then you go off in a corner and start cussing up a storm and being super rude to your mom, and then your mom's super rude to you. It was awful. Like, I'm like, seriously. Okay. The show of all shows. Watch What Happens Live, y'all. It was so weird. Z-Way was amazing. First off, she comes and brings her as a joke. You know, she's a comedian. She's an author. She's everything. She brings Mary Cosby a warm fish sandwich from McDonald's. And the way Mary Cosby was so freaking rude. I'm like, first of all, I sort of love a fish sandwich. I don't think I would have eaten it, okay, because the wrapper did look a little weird, and I'd be like, I want it to come straight from McDonald's to me. I don't want like third, fourth, fifth people generation touching it. But it was so rude. I felt like it was just a joke, and they could have taken it as a joke. I think even on Andy Cohen Live this morning, I think Andy Cohen was talking about it. He said the show energized him. Lots of people were calling in saying they thought she was so rude. He was like, no, I love our Watch What Happens Live. It's unscripted. I loved the show. I left so energized. I'm like, but then after I watched the after show, after that, I was like, oh my God. Like, I don't know. I was so uncomfortable for Z-Way. I was so uncomfortable for her. And even, I think it was the after show, she gives Andy Cohen a signed book, a copy of her book. And I think it's called Black Friend. And she gives a signed copy to Mary. And Mary says, oh, I can say 2 nice things about this book. And Z-Way's like, oh, okay. And she's like, first of all, you autographed it for me. You personalized it for me. Okay, that's a nice thing. And your book came out on my birthday. I mean, she just turned everything back to herself. I was dying. Like, what? Hold on. Are y'all saying that I have sound? Somebody said you have sound on YouTube. Okay. It was crazy. What did y'all think? Yes, Jeannie says the sketchy comment that she said about her church. And basically, Andy Cohen asked her, like, what are your church members? He used the word congregants, which she was like, what is that? I'm like, you're a pastor and you don't know what the word, I don't even use that word. We say church members, church family. I don't know. But she said congregants or whatever. Think of you just being part-time on the show. And she was like, oh, they don't even pay attention to this. They don't even know what's going on. Everything's they're kind of sketchy there. And we're remodeling the church right now. So it basically sounded like they don't really have a church right now. Like maybe they don't have any church members. I don't know. Do y'all remember that episode, like season 1 or 2? And some of the housewives went on like Mother's Day. There was hardly anyone there. Y'all, Mother's Day is like one of the few church days where even if you don't go to church every Sunday, you show up for, right? Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, Easter Sunday, of course. And Mother's Day, you know, like our church gives us a rose and everything. I mean, there was hardly anyone there. So I don't know. Is it a sham? I don't know. Interesting. Okay. And how does she not know if her son is married? She's got 1 kid to keep up with, y'all. I've got 5, and I think I would know. I would like to think I have a close enough relationship with my children to know if they got married or not behind my back. She doesn't even seem to know. But one of the things she did where she was answering this like top 5 things, her number 1 answer was that she loves her close relationship with her son. I was like, girl, if that is what you call a close relationship with your son, I mean, what an interesting definition that you can't even confirm or deny if he's married or not. And I think he lives in the house, right? Like, does the wife live there? Oh my God, y'all, so much. I swear to you, I need to watch it 3 times. I was literally dying. Okay, again, the after show. So she teases about it on Watch What Happens Live. She wants to tell some story about the Dome Perrier, however you pronounce it, that she called the hotel about to see if they sell it. She couldn't even remember all the facts of this story. Like, she got nervous. Daily Dose of Donna Bowling said in the Facebook group today that she felt like she was starting to have a panic attack when she was saying it. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, she came to her senses enough to snap at freaking Z-Way for trying to take the shine away from telling the story. I felt like Z-Way was just trying to save it. For one thing, it was the after show, but it's still live TV. They have an audience, Andy Cohen, it's being recorded. I feel like she was trying to save Mary Cosby from looking like a crazy person. I don't know. She looked like she was on something or drugs or alcohol, something, some reason that she couldn't remember this story that meant so much to her to tell. It ends up being a terrible story that in Champagne, France, in 2011, there was like a drought or a heat wave, something that apparently killed thousands of people. But that's what ended up making the grapes such a good year a good season that year. And that's why she loves 2003 Dom Perrier. Or is that how you pronounce Dom Perignon? However you pronounce that fancy champagne. It was so gross. It was almost a grosser story to me than her saying that her church members are sketchy and scattered. And that's saying a lot because she's the freaking pastor of the church, right? Yes, somebody says it's almost like multiple personalities, but that quick, like I don't have experience with multiple personalities, but can you come in out so quickly with that? Like literally every 3 minutes, she was like a different person. She was like rude. So I feel like she had her bearings about her to know how to be rude to Z-Way and Andy Cohen. I mean, oh my God. Storm says Mary is a hoot. I mean, sometimes I think she's fascinating, Storm. That's why she's a hoot, right? She's fascinating. She's an enigma. We can't figure her out at all. Also on Andy Cohen Live this morning, obviously he mentioned that he had recently put up a post on Instagram with the Israeli flag, and he got all this hate about it. And he's like, I don't understand how people, and this is where I stand on this, good humans are good humans, no matter what. Doesn't matter what country you happen to live in, all that kind of stuff. Horrible humans are horrible humans, and they can do bad things to other people. And, the details are just horrific. But he basically is like, F you to people that are supporting the Hamas, whatever. And he doesn't understand how this is a political issue of people like doing these awful things. So anyways, very interesting. Yes, Amy, so quick. You never know if you're safe with people like that. Yeah. I mean, do I feel safe at the idea of being in a room with Mary Cosby? Hail to the no. Like, she terrifies me. Not literally, but like, I wouldn't want to have a conversation with her, I don't think. Maybe I would. Maybe it'd be fascinating. I don't know. Donna Maria says she's definitely entertaining. Yeah. Oh, Kristen, YouTube was messing up, like upcoming video. That's weird. Sorry about that. Let me know. Send me a DM if it was weird for anyone else. I do go live at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern every weekday on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook group, Facebook page, Twitter, TikTok. Is that everything? I think that's everything. And then it all goes up as a replay instantly, except for Twitter. Except for TikTok. TikTok is the only one that doesn't go up. And then it goes up as a podcast everywhere. So anyways, thank you, Ara. I decided to wear my Hello Fall shirt. It's kind of rainy here today. And I go meet with my mentor early on Wednesday. So I have to get ready for the day pretty early. And it's such a soft, cozy t-shirt that I love it. So anyway, it seemed appropriate for October 11th. Okay, y'all, let's get in. I want to hear your thoughts on the mediation and how it went. Today on Jeff Lewis Live was Ryan Bailey's first time and Justin Martindale's second time. What did y'all think? I loved them together, but somebody just DM'd me. I haven't read all my DMs yet. Somebody DM'd me that it sounded like a bunch of men on a rock radio morning show, like just a bunch of men getting together and talking. And I'm like, I sort of see your point there. At some points, I couldn't tell the difference. I can always tell Jeff and Shane's voices. I couldn't tell the difference sometimes if it was Ryan talking or Justin. But I eventually figured it out. And yes, I was amazed when I heard Ryan give a shout out. I guess he was joking about, he was explaining what his podcast is, So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey. And he was saying that he was joking that he's a Jeff Lewis recap show. And Jeff was kind of like, probably like, whatever. And then he said, shout out Jeff Lewis Obsessed. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I did meet him last year at BravoCon on 2 different nights, but, you know, we don't really have a friendship or relationship via DM or anything. So I was just like, oh my God, he knows who I am. That was amazing. Anyways, thought they were so good. They start off the whole show teasing about Frank, who we know his real name is Brandon, but I sort of like calling him Frank. Frank and Jameson. I guess Frank was on a 5-day vacation with his friends in Puerto Vallarta. I guess you call it PV. What are your thoughts? They talked about this on the after show. I really think Jeff is projecting his own insecurities about his relationships and himself. I love that Jameson stands up for himself. I love that he is like, look, this is what's working in our relationship now, but if there's an issue, we'll talk it out and we'll have a conclusion about it. I mean, I love that. Like goals, like literally, I think Jeff is just dumbfounded by that. And he can't imagine Stu barely gets to go out to High Tops with his friends or what's that bar he goes to, the sports bar that they go and watch tennis or whatever. Jeff would lose his shit if Stu was like, hey, you know, it's my friend's 40th and they want to go to Puerto Vallarta for 5 days without you. And we're going to wear Speedos and drink and all sorts of stuff. But y'all, it is not lost on me that very recently, Jeff kind of slid in that when he and Stu have had pauses, that Jeff kind of goes wild and he kind of meets up with boys. So I think his actions are what makes him think and worry about that stuff more than anything that Stu has ever done, right? And the fact that we know, you know, he always says that Gage cheated on him. He found some young dude at the gym, right? So, you know, I think he's just got a lot of insecurities. Needs a lot more counseling for sure. Okay, what did y'all think of the cat funeral? I thought it was kind of cute. And I would love to go to Bobby Boyd's house. Oh my God. Y'all, Bobby Boyd is Josh Flagg's ex-husband. When I tell you he looks like perfection, he does. So he was at the Amazon launch party, June of 2022 when I was there. So I met him in person. I also saw him in January of this year at the Quiet Woman. Y'all, he is beautiful. I mean, I know he's always like sun-kissed and everything on his TikTok videos, but he is so cute in real life. So I would love to go to his house. He decorates really good. I would love to see it for sure. Okay, let's get into the mediation. Everything we were waiting for. Nothing seemed to happen. He was there for 9 hours at $22,000 a day. Oh my God. He says that he and Gage probably spent $10,000 each on their attorneys. Sounds like Jeff's decision was to pay for the private judge at $12,000. That was probably because, as we know yesterday, Jeff really was hoping that they would knock all of this stuff out, right? Instead, they got one thing done. But I can't figure out what he got done. All he says was it was a big win for Monroe. But what is that? Have you figured out what that is? He doesn't sound like he can say because he's got a confidentiality agreement. He was trying to tell us so much more today. And I'm sure Shane was looking at him like I almost can't wait to watch the video tonight because I do want to see like the looks of everyone and all that kind of stuff. So the 4 things I know, he does tell us the 1 week on, 1 week off custody agreement was not. They are so far off on that. So it sounds like Jeff is not budging. It also sounds like Gage is not budging on what he told us he wants yesterday, which is to drop off or pick up Monroe Sunday mornings and drop her off Thursdays. I don't know if he said Thursday after school or Thursday before school. I don't know. But the things that I wrote down that they were trying to figure out was custody, which we know they didn't figure out. The holiday schedule, like the details of like Easter and Halloween, that didn't get scheduled originally. The extracurricular stuff, like if each person can sign her up for like dance on a certain night or a summer camp without the other one's permission. And then the child support, you know, the fact that Gage wants more money. But somebody just told me in DMs, they reminded me about the counseling thing. So that might be the big win for Monroe. Jeff just said, if you're a listener of mine, you will know exactly what was most important to me. That's actually what triggered all of this. Because remember, Monroe was having like behavioral issues. She was kind of being very feisty and snotty with Jeff. And he realized she is just anxious going back and forth to Daddy Gage's house and hers. So he wanted to have counseling for her, a counselor for her, like separate from them, without them in the room. And Gage wasn't having it. He didn't want that at all for them. So that's kind of what started all that. And then we've got all these other little problems going on, right? I did sort of love that Ryan and Justin is, neither one of them are parents. I love that they let Jeff speak on such a serious matter and update us on all of this. But I love that they kind of brought out the humor in it. I think Jeff loves to laugh. There was a lot of laughter on the show today. I kind of needed that, right? Like, this is such a heavy subject for Jeff, and it didn't even get resolved. So all that money, a whole day's worth of being at remediation, which sounded kind of fancy. I mean, the food, oh my God. I love that Jeff thought they were crazy because he kept talking about not eating. Jeff, I think they think you're crazy for a lot of other reasons besides just being obsessed over food. Like, that's the least of their worries, right? But I do love that he talks about all the designer clothes he was wearing, but yet he wanted to keep things simple. But yet he has no problem differentiating that Gage's attorney was wearing a Coach purse and his attorney was wearing a Chanel bag. I mean, he's always going to get those digs in there no matter what. But he did say that he saw Gage somewhere afterwards, maybe in a bathroom. He always seems to run into people in the bathroom somewhere. And they did say hi to each other and everything was civil. So I do like that, right? Thank you for TikTok. Make sure you tap the screen to like it. That makes other Jeff Lewis Live listeners find us. Let me check out all your comments. Oh, goodness. Jeannie, Gage needs a help, hobby, and a job. Oh, my gosh. I mean, if anything brings out opinions about people, it is Jeff and Gage for sure, because I think we got so much of their relationship towards the last few seasons of flipping out. And then we see Gage's, y'all see Gage's Instagram. He's blocked me, but y'all send me his Ask Me Anythings and his answers and stuff. So, I just think we have opinions about it, but yet we're not really the ones involved, but we care because Jeff tells us what he tells us. Oh my God. I see that Zuba is on. She called into the after show and Jeff and everyone else was like, she's a chump. She's a chump. She is. She was amazing. Zuba says, it's crazy to me that Gage thinks that he's deserving of Jeff's wealth forevermore. Yeah. Oh, I did. Zuba says, did I see Gage's roses? So obviously I'm blocked on Instagram, but somebody sent me a picture of the red roses he was sent. I'm assuming from Scott. So red roses are a sign of romantic, whatever. So is this like an anniversary? Early to mid-October? Is that when they maybe started dating? I cannot remember last year. But before it all came out publicly, before Jeff said, I think during a commercial break or something, that Monroe had said, Daddy Gage talks to Scott, or Daddy Gage something about Scott. And then they realized that. I had a Jeff Lewis friend who I talked to on the phone. We would DM, all this stuff. He had a friendship with Scott and maybe Gage both. I can't remember. Definitely anti-Jeff. I mean, he was definitely a hate listener, I guess you would call it. But he would tell me basically that Scott and Gage were together. So I knew a lot of these details, but I couldn't yet say anything publicly because it hadn't been said publicly by Scott or Gage or Jeff at the time. So I had maybe some proof for sure, but I didn't want to say anything because it was coming from a fan. And I felt like that was, even though this person was pretty much encouraging me to say publicly that they were together, because he, I think, I don't know, wanted to hurt Jeff. He wanted the information to come out for sure. And I was like, I am not getting involved in this until it's like public, right? Oh my goodness. Okay. Starting to read comments. Krista, Gage waited specifically and had Monroe with Jeff. I think the whole thing was planned for child support and alimony. Okay, I'll respectfully disagree, which this is a place that we can respectfully disagree. So is the Jeff Lewis Obsessed Facebook group. So join that if you're looking to meet other chumpettes and really get to know each other better and chat all reality TV and Jeff Lewis. They waited a while to have Monroe. It wasn't just an instantaneous decision. And obviously with two gay men, you can't exactly have a child instantaneously, the way they did surrogacy and everything. I feel like Jeff is very aware. He's said multiple times, I think he regrets putting Gage on the birth certificate. He even said that, I think, during a commercial break yesterday with Nikki Haskell and Josh Flagg. It was a really good Jeff Lewis video yesterday, if you didn't watch that. But he very much says he would have never had Monroe. He would have never had a child had he not been in a relationship, a long-term serious relationship. He would have never done it as a single man. Like he has told Andy Cohen, he respects him so much for doing it on his own. So I don't feel like Gage did it for that. I feel like their hatred of each other is so harsh right now. But when they get along, I do feel like they both make good decisions for themselves and for Monroe. And it's just all better. But clearly they're not in a good space right now. They just spent a shit ton of money at the attorneys, this fancy, mediation place. And I don't even know when it's going to end. He thinks they're so far apart on what they think is best for Monroe that he doesn't even know that mediation is going to help. It might even have to go to a judge, which means they have to get on a schedule for that. That could be months. Like this is October. That means like Christmas, Halloween, like that schedule may not get resolved, which I think he actually has her on Halloween this year. So that kind of works out for that, right? Oh my gosh. Tell me your thoughts. I know there's a lot of Gage lovers. There's a lot of Jeff lovers. It's a tricky situation. Obviously, I hate it for them. I do love that Jeff gives shout outs to the Jeff Lewis listeners that DM with him and give him advice on this and tell him. He even had one call on the after show today, talk about she's divorced and she's got 4 kids and she's been through this. So, a lot of the world has been through custody stuff and where things didn't go well. And in hindsight, they can maybe give Jeff advice of like, this is what worked for us. This is what didn't work for us. So stop doing this. This is just going to hurt your kid. And neither Jeff or Gage, I really do feel like in Jeff, even when pissed off at Gage, does admit he's a good dad, right? A good dad that's screwing his ex-boyfriend, Scott, but he's a good dad, right? Oh my gosh. Okay. Kiki says, did they ever really get along? Gage was always a whooping boy. Whipping boy? Is that what you mean? Did they ever really get along? I think that flipping out, there was a couple of seasons. Clearly, they were together 10 years. So there was quite a while where Jeff was not out on the TV show with Gage. So I think that might have been their good times. I think the stress of everything when their relationship kind of fell through, and then they had Monroe. Clearly, we saw all of that play out, and it was not good. Like it was definitely, Jeff was definitely like, on Gage, like who's going to take care of her? Oh, she's crying, and Jeff would be like, well, I've got to go to work, and Gage is like, well, I'm working too. Like they had that business together. Like Gage worked alongside him to get him like the speaking deals and endorsement deals, the paint and all that kind of stuff. As far as I remember from flipping out, I just think in the end, they are two completely different people. And I just don't feel like they were going to ever mesh. But did they have good times? I would like to think so. I mean, he says the sex never failed. It was always really good. Thinking of Jeff and Gage together. Oh my gosh. I can only think of Jeff and Stu right now. You know what I mean? Lady Grace said the relationship definitely deteriorated during flipping out. They were together a couple of years before Gage came on the show. And Gage was 23, y'all, when they started dating. Don't forget that. He's very book smart, but 23 is very different than I think Jeff was 14 or 15 years older. So like 38-ish, 37-ish when they started dating. Very different. I mean, just the fact that, Jeff was on the TV show, he was more into his career. But everything about 23 and 38, 37 is a big freaking deal, y'all. I mean, 50 and 65, maybe not as huge a deal, but there's times where 14, 15 years difference is huge, right? Wait. Oh, Krista says, back in the flipping out days, Gage was really with Jeff, but he took a lot of Jeff's abuse. And I think a lot of that was the stress. And look, listen, parents, we know kids are beautiful, but they're freaking stressful as a baby. Monroe had colic. She cried a lot. They had nannies quitting. They had stress with the surrogate that was suing them. It was a lot going on. They're on a TV show. I mean, good Lord, if everything we did was on a freaking reality TV show, that would be a lot, right? A lot of extra stress. So it was a lot for them to be going through. On top of, I think the relationship wasn't that good to begin with. Maybe it was great in the beginning, which is good. Jeff loves stress. He loves, he says that when things get boring, that's not what he likes in a relationship. So as much as he bitches and moans about him and Stu, fighting and having these pauses, he makes it very clear that's what keeps him excited and things. The makeup sex, whatever, the breakup sex, whatever. Oh my gosh. Yes, just Josh. Wasn't the economy pretty bad during that time as well? And speaking of that, as far as we know, Gage still is owed money from a loan that Jeff had about him, right? So Jeff kind of explained a while back that he gives $2,500 a month for child support, and he pays him extra, so $5,000 total, I think. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong. He does that because he knows there's a disparity between their incomes, and he wants Monroe to live more of an equal financial situation between her house at Daddy Gage's house and with Jeff. $2,500 is not going to make up for the difference in that, right? But when things were good, don't forget, he was almost going to pay for a down payment for a house for Gage about last December. And then that all went to kaput when pretty much Gage let us know in an Ask Me Anything that Jeff was asking for more than just a daddy conversation, right? It became way more than just dad talk, right? That was crazy. I still can't forget about that because he and Stu were together. So I'm like, Jeff, you keep talking about like Stu and like insinuating maybe that he's cheated with his ex Thomas. And I'm like, you were the one trying to get in Gage's pants or get Gage's mouth in your pants, something like that. Oh, Jeffrey. Oh, Kathy, don't you think Monroe is being exposed to a lot of adult things? I mean, I don't know. I do think it's not like Jeff has like friends over to his house all the time. He does go out to work dinners, as needed. And I think, I think he's got a safe, secure, fun nanny with Monroe at the house. And she probably goes to bed at 8 or 8:30. So, part of the time she's asleep. I don't know. Yes, Kiki says, even with me personally, there was a huge difference between age 23 and age 30. I mean, yeah, me too. I mean, I agree. Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you, Melanie. Melanie and Krista, y'all, thanks so much for asking everyone to like and subscribe the videos. Make sure you're follow me and subscribe to me. I really appreciate it so much. Many, many kisses. And like on TikTok, you can just tap the screen. It's free. It gives likes. It helps other people find our live. Zuba says the lawyer bills have to be insane. Who hasn't pined for an ex or over some aspect you missed about him? I agree, Zuba. And I think what Jeff admitted to, which is so relatable, is that, he wants so desperately to be this quote unquote typical 2-parent family for Monroe. And that is so relatable. I think anyone that's ever split up from somebody can relate to that for sure. And Jeff has talked about like that Monroe years ago at home or said something about her school and like, where's my mom or something like, why don't I have a mom? And so then he had to explain, well, you have 2 dads that love you. But then on top of that, it's like, well, 2 dads in 2 separate houses that you have to go back and forth too. So, he wants everything as normal as he can, right? Kathy Sue says, what happened? I just hopped on. Will somebody on TikTok give her a brief summary basically about the mediation that went on yesterday with Jeff and Gage? It didn't go well, honey, in Jeff's eyes. Anyways, what else? Thank y'all. Oh gosh, Krista, do you think he was joking? So Krista says Monroe should not be watching Mean Girls on repeat. That's not okay. I almost wondered if he was joking. Is he? I don't know. She's almost 7, first grade. Mean Girls is rough. Like, I don't even, but they've talked about Mean Girls at school and stuff. He's talked about, girls, like her not liking girls and stuff. And trust me, y'all, I taught kindergarten for 2 years and pre-K for 1 year. Kids that young, they can be mean. Girls can be bullying at that ages. They really can be. It's crazy and sad, but yeah. So I do wonder if she is really watching Mean Girls on repeat, if she gets parts of it that she probably doesn't need to get at 7 years old, almost 7, right? What other questions? Kiki says he's joking. He has to be. I think a lot of what Jeff says is for a reaction on the radio show. We are going to talk about Paige Davis and Zach Noe Towers on the Jeff Lewis After Show today. They brought up Taylor Swift. Did y'all listen? I feel like Paige is going to get some heat because I think she was just trying to be a little bit controversial and not be kind of blasé, like with all the heat that's coming about the Jeff Lewis After Show. She's taken a lot of heat about not being a good chump and like showing up and doing all the stuff, the mazes at Hollywood, the Universal thing. And then they also bring up the Chanel versus Coach purse thing. And I don't know. In the end, the show ended really well. And I think they get along really good. And Zach talks about his upcoming Texas shows. So shout out if you're going to see Zach Noe Towers anytime soon. A couple of us Jeff Lewis friends are going to go see him in Houston on October 26th. So if anyone else is going to be there, shoot me a DM. It's such an easy way to find your community by joining all of our lives, obviously. I am going to have a meetup, I think Thursday night at BravoCon, somewhere at Link Hotel. So y'all send me a DM on Instagram if you can at Jeff Lewis Obsessed. If you can think of an easy place for us to meet up. I do want to go over to the Champagne's Cafe that the BravoCon Facebook group is hosting, a big event there from 6 to 9 p.m. You do need to RSVP for that. So go to the BravoCon Facebook group if you're not aware of that. There's another one also called like BravoCon Meetup 2023. But I got to make sure it's walking distance. But I'm thinking that event is 6 to 9. So I'm thinking our meetup, because a lot of us are coming by ourselves, right? So I want to make sure that us Jeff Lewis fans and Bravo fans meet each other, whether you've got 10 friends coming or not, or whether you're looking for a group or a small group to hang out with all weekend. But it's so much fun to like put a face to a name on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube. So I think it's going to be so fun. I think it'll be Thursday around 5 or 5:30. So y'all give me your feedback on that, but give me your ideas. I also need help with somebody making me a little promo, like a little poster, a digital poster, if you will, on the details once we decide on that. So, oh my God, no bathroom meetups. Yeah, I'm not here to, what do you call it? Cross stream. Can girls cross stream? That'd be really difficult, right? Oh my gosh. Let me see all the comments. Lori says he was shaming Stu for gaining 4 pounds and said he punishes him when he gets mad at him. I mean, they do talk about weight a lot. But I think everything I watch, they talk about weight. As much as John Hill is so PC, in my opinion, he was even talking about weight he had gained, from years past. He said he was chubby. And then he was like, oh, I don't want to be, I forget the term he used. Basically, he didn't want to fat shame anyone for what they look like. But, I think a lot of us are naturally or unnaturally overly concerned with our weight, with our appearance. If you happen to be a Jeff Lewis Live or a reality TV fan, you're probably more involved in your appearance and your weight than normal. I mean, I don't know. It's facts. It's just how life is, right? Yes. I love all your comments on TikTok. Please keep it up. Golden Girl. Oh, you love to comment on the joking about killing Gage. Hope Gage uses those clips in court. I mean, okie dokie. Oh, Krista says gay men are more obsessed with weight than women. I would say some. I mean, some. Shout out Colorinette. Well, we are going to wrap things up. Thank you so much for joining live. I promise it is way more fun. I love chatting with y'all. I love getting your feedback. We do this every weekday at 12 o'clock Pacific on all the places that we go live. Everything goes up as a replay immediately, except for TikTok. And then it goes up as a podcast. Everything is under Jeff Lewis Obsessed. Please make sure you like. Please make sure you comment. If you were lucky enough to have a Jeff Lewis or reality TV fan or friend in your life, please share my account with them, just like Ryan Bailey did as a shout out on Jeff Lewis Live today. That was so amazing. So thank you to Ryan. And I will see you tomorrow when Fortune Feimster and Megan Weaver are on. And then I think the after show, is it Carney and Doug? Is it Carney and Paige? Tomorrow's Carney and Paige, right? I'll grab this question real quick. Shout out prayers to Mary Lou Retton. I did hear something about her. Was she diagnosed with a cancer or a leukemia or something? I did hear that yesterday. Let me know for sure. Yeah, for sure. I think Mary Lou Retton lives in Houston. She used to go or does go. We haven't been to church regularly since the pandemic, but we go to a huge church in Houston. I think she definitely went to our church. Anyways, serious pneumonia. Okay, thank you for letting me know about Mary Lou Retton. Anyways, bye, Chumpettes. Thank you for joining. Bye, Instagram. And bye. YouTube and Facebook and Twitter.